Some rulers were feared because of their armies. Some were feared because of what they'd do to you personally, with their own hands, for almost no reason at all. We're ranking 10 of history's most feared rulers. D tier to S tier, and I promise you, the ranking is not what you'd expect. D tier: Nero. Yes, the Roman emperor famous for allegedly fiddling while Rome burned. He earns his reputation. He had his own mother assassinated, and historians describe him executing critics on a whim. But here's why he's D tier and not higher. Nero's fear factor was mostly reactive and personal, paranoid, erratic, striking out at people close to him. Compare that to what's coming, and Nero starts to look almost restrained. His own guard eventually turned on him, and he died alone, abandoned, forced to take his own life rather than face capture. Even his fear had limits. C tier: Caligula. Caligula reportedly declared himself a living god, and had people executed for the crime of not looking sufficiently sad at his sister's funeral. Historical accounts, some possibly exaggerated by hostile later writers, worth noting, describe him forcing senators to watch as he had their family members killed, then inviting them to dinner immediately afterward, testing whether they could keep smiling. C tier: King John of England. Less famous internationally, but genuinely terrifying to actually live under. John was known for using starvation as an execution method, locking prisoners, including women and children of rival nobles, in towers with no food, and being documented as personally checking in on their condition as they starved. He's the reason England's nobles eventually forced the Magna Carta on him, not out of high principle, but because they were terrified they were next. B tier: Ivan the Terrible. Ivan created a private police force, the Oprichnina, whose entire job was terrorizing his own nobility, riding through Russia with dog heads tied to their saddles, symbolizing that they'd hunt down any hint of disloyalty. In a fit of rage, Ivan killed his own son and heir with his own hands, then reportedly spent the rest of his life in visible grief and guilt over it, proof that even his own family wasn't safe from him. B tier: Vlad III, Vlad the Impaler. Vlad's reputation is built on one specific, verified tactic: impaling enemies and criminals on tall stakes, then leaving the bodies displayed in massive numbers along roads and outside his capital, specifically so any approaching army would see the scale of it before reaching him. One famous account describes an invading Ottoman army turning back after encountering a field of thousands of impaled bodies. He didn't need to win the battle, the sight did the work for him. A tier: Tamerlane. Tamerlane built towers out of the skulls of conquered cities' populations, not as a metaphor. Actual physical towers, constructed as a deliberate warning to the next city down the road. Historians estimate his campaigns caused the deaths of up to 17 million people, roughly 5% of the world's entire population at the time. Cities that resisted him didn't just lose battles, they frequently ceased to exist. A tier: Qin Shi Huang. China's first emperor buried scholars alive and burned books that contradicted his rule, in an attempt to erase history itself and start the record over with him as the beginning. He was so afraid of his own death that he had an army of thousands of life-sized terracotta soldiers built to protect him in the afterlife, and, according to some historical accounts, sealed the tomb's workers inside with him to protect its secrets forever. S tier: Genghis Khan. Genghis Khan's armies operated on a simple, terrifying rule. Cities that surrendered immediately were largely spared. Cities that resisted were frequently erased so completely that some regions of Central Asia took generations to recover their pre-invasion population. His conquests are estimated to have caused the deaths of up to 40 million people, and yet the fear wasn't just the number. It was the certainty. Everyone understood exactly what would happen, and the choice was entirely theirs to make. S tier: Shaka Zulu. Shaka reorganized an entire military system around psychological terror as much as tactics. His soldiers were forbidden from retreating under any circumstance, and the penalty for cowardice was execution on the spot in front of the unit. He is documented as having ordered the deaths of thousands of his own people during periods of mourning for his mother, on the belief that shared grief had to be total and visible or it wasn't real. S tier: Attila the Hun. Attila earned the nickname Scourge of God from the very civilizations he terrorized, a title given to him by his enemies, not by himself. Roman writers described entire cities emptying and fleeing before his armies even arrived, purely on rumor that he was approaching. He's one of the only rulers in history whose reputation for violence traveled faster than his actual army, meaning entire regions surrendered or fled based on fear alone, without a single battle taking place. 10 rulers, 10 different ways to make an entire population afraid to breathe wrong. Notice what actually separates D tier from S tier isn't just body count, it's certainty and reach. The scariest rulers in history weren't the ones who killed the most people directly. They were the ones whose reputation did the killing for them before they even arrived. Which tier surprised you the most? Let me know below, and if you think I got someone in the wrong tier, tell me who deserves to move.